Nous voici aujourd'hui sur cette deuxième journée de EuroCloud et de la Cloud Week 2022 avec Andreas Weiss qui nous répond à nos questions en direct d'Allemagne. Thank you, Andreas, and welcome.
Thanks for the invitation.
Andreas, you are a director for EuroCloud Germany. EuroCloud Germany is one of the partners of GaiaX Association. And you are also a member of the executive team of ECHO and many, I imagine, association and other structures where you evolve. Andreas, could you present to us your vision of GaiaX from Germany?
Sure, thank you for the opportunity. Well, you know, GaiaX is a huge concept to address, let me say, the majority of the economy in Europe, in the sense that we need to support the transformation into data-driven business models. And to get into this level of building up new emerging business models and combine let me say, the production of hardware with service management in the we need data, and therefore the industry and not the provider, the industry said, please provide a conceptual approach how to get hold of data, how to make them available, but in a sense that it is still sovereign. So data sovereignty is a key area, and further on data availability, and the key objective is to drive innovation. So, and therefore we have the vision that we need to overcome also the dependency on a few resources, because IT is also a resource, and we are pretty aware that more than 80% of the cloud market is offered by non-European provider in a very central way. So, and this is the idea of a hyperscaler, to concentrate workloads in huge data centers. But when it comes to data, we need to understand that we need a decentralized approach, because data occurs everywhere. Let's talk about smart cities, smart mobility, and all these new emerging concepts. And we need also the capability to process data where they occur, to pre-process them, and even have process chains which are very close to the data management due to latency. And this brings us to the concept of GaiaX, where we need a decentralized approach, where we need clarity about who are the actors in terms of transparency of the service providers and the services themselves, but even transparency about the participants. So those who are planning to exchange data between various entities, to keep the promise of sovereignty, because when you share data, you want to be still the controller of the data. For example, to explain, if I share you the data, I share you the data just for the purpose of supply chain monitoring for the next couple of weeks. So these are the additional terms which must be applied with this exchange model. And this is more or less the core of GaiaX: decentralization, data sovereignty, data availability, and drive innovation.
Well, thank you for this introduction. We see more from France, GaiaX as an innovation program. And this is an innovation program with many things you are developing. And like you explained to us, GaiaX is also an opportunity. And could you explain why it's an opportunity for European administration, European governments, and European companies?
I would not even say it's just an opportunity, it's a must. Because during these times we realize what does it mean to have single dependencies, and I'm talking about any kind of resource. Beside this, so in any case, if we go into the cloud, we always need a plan B. We need alternatives and choices. So this is one of the key aspects. Beside this, we need to have a combined view between cloud infrastructures and data ecosystems. Because when it comes, for example, to data privacy and considering GDPR requirements, you always need to understand where the data is stored, but also where is the data going to be processed. So we have a lot of governance aspects in terms of GDPR compliance, in terms of security compliance, EU CS, for example, driven by ENISA, code of conducts in various aspects, switching provider, and all these things. So this has to be brought together. So we need a joint view. And we need a better participation of European companies in the digital value chain. This is, which happens not sufficiently right now. We are very good to produce goods, but we are not very good to combine them with services. And this is something we have to learn. And therefore, we need this joint initiative as a multi-stakeholder approach. I'm very happy that we really have this momentum. And for me, GaiaX is the most important project for Europe to be more sovereign in the digital space. And recently, our State Secretary, Mrs. Brandner, said, we are facing a situation where the urgent kills the important. And I would say GaiaX is the important thing. And urgent are all the crises around them. And they also stated, well, I would like to have GaiaX 3 years ago, but then we can manage our energy services much better than we do right now. So there's an understanding that we need something like this conceptual product GaiaX, and we have to bring it into operation right now.
Like you know, Andreas, many companies are waiting something more concrete, something to work with GaiaX. We know you will have a big announcement in November. Could you just give us tendencies of this future announcement and what companies will find for their vision of cloud?
Yeah. Of course, there is... most of the companies are saying, well, GaiaX has to deliver, but we need to understand this is a joint activity. And what we are doing, thankfully, to the German Ministry of Economics, but also supported by PGE in France, we have the chance to promote a set of enabling services. Let me say it this way. These are the so-called GaiaX Federation services. Because we said it's nice to have a concept, it's nice to produce tons of PowerPoints and documents, but we have to do now this shift into functional implementation and to get GaiaX operational. And therefore, we have 4 key pillars which are addressed. As I said, we need clarity about our actors who are working jointly in the so-called federations. Therefore, we need identities, and we made a clear decision to support sovereign identities, so distributed identities, due to the nature of GaiaX. So identities is important in conjunction with trust. So identity is the anchor to establish trust, just by knowing who you are and what is your claim and who made the evidence. The second part is a catalog of services and participants. So provide transparency about services which are offered. And beside this, thousands of cloud services, we are also talking about millions of data services, which is another level of complexity. And further on, we need some support for sovereign data exchange, which starts on the organizational enforcement, so contracting, because when you opt in for a data service, you can, as I mentioned, also have some mutual agreement on the terms and conditions, which is not the typical way when you opt in for cloud services. And last but not least, we have to respect compliance requirements, as I mentioned, in terms of GDPR, in terms of security and other aspects. And this has to be also covered. And this is our toolbox, and we name it also kind of Kickstarter. So, and the software is ready to go right now. But of course, there's still a lot to do together with the community to enhance it, to improve it, and to adopt it to this multitude of use cases.
Thank you, Andreas. On retrouve dans un instant le témoignage du ministère de la Justice et de Soprasteria Next sur le thème de la souveraineté et la sécurité.